Hi there, I hope you're all doing well. It's been a while since a video lesson, just touching base with you. Markets have been quiet. I've also been under the weather a little bit, so it's all kind of been intertwined into multiple reasons why you haven't heard from me much. But anyway, happy to be back. Talking about a few things. The first one is UONE. They've got big news. After our spiker, it's been uptrending all day. Just been going up essentially all the way up, right? Like, if you zoom this out right here, this thing started at $6 and finished at 10 today. So really, really nice price action on UONE, and just the nice consolidation here from 230 to 5. That's the standard 60 minutes plus, right? And then you have the breakout. And how many times have you seen this where you've got the breakout and the stock comes back down, tests the law of the U at the previous breakout level, and then runs again? So because the news is good and because it's a previous runner, I'm a little bit more aggressive with my buy on on UONE. So there are, since about 5:35, so we're coming up on about 40 minutes here. We are forming support here in the 1070s. So my goal is to capture some of that and see if I can get filled in the 1070s, and also building up a backup plan. And if you look at my order flow here, I'm only buying 100 shares at 1070 because I do still think this thing has some downward momentum to go before it runs. That's my thesis. It might run exactly in this moment right here. But this is typically how I set up my dip buys, right? Like I have a nice, beautiful process. I got a catalyst behind me. It's a previous runner. It's showing strength and it shows that it can run. So I build a trade plan. So my trade plan is buy 100 at 1075, another 300 at 10 because that's where the previous resistance is. And in case they're running the game of bringing it back down to the previous resistance below the breakout, then I'm buying, another 100 at what do you call it, at 950, which is the order right here. So and this is the sort of thinking that goes into my trading as I'm doing this. So I'm not just buying these spikes randomly and whatnot, as much as possible, right? And especially when I have nice time to think about it, do some research on it. After hours, there's not much noise, right? So you have more time to research a stock before you make a decision. So if we do that, 1075 at 100 is 1075, 300 shares at 10 is 3000, so 4075, and then 100 at 950 is $950. So if we do that, that'll be basically 500 shares, right? So we're going to have 500 shares at 5,025. We're sitting on a 1005 average. And just like that, you're able to get, again, if the dip does happen, you're able to get a beautiful dip buying opportunity where you're capturing the stock up here in case it runs, but I'm only pushing 100 shares because the odds of it doing it just off of the first support is pretty low. The news could make it run, right? So that's why I still want to be part of it at a technical level that's been formed now. Further to that, what I expect to happen is the dip to happen, and where I want to sit is right at a 1005 price point, so that I can capture that dip. And if that dip doesn't work, I can cut my loss, and I'm not that far away when I cut my loss. Like if this thing takes out the nines and whatnot, it's easy to walk away from this. I mean, I know it's a 10% chop, but I would probably buy some of the dips in the 930s, 920s to bring that price down still. So I'm still working with that sort of 5% stop loss, 4% stop loss that I work with because of my win percentage. My win percentage allows me to have a bit more slippage in my losses. Okay. So this is one of the things I've set up right here in front of you. You get to see how I do it. Not that complicated, right? It's just a little bit of thinking involved. We got catalyst, previous runner. It's shown it can run, and I believe it's shorted as well. So this is how I'm setting up my dip buy. So with ARPO, you're going to see a loss right here. That's just because I've already exited my position from the 170s, and now I'm buying it up again. So I'm sitting on a 205 average on this, the combination of my buys on ARPO. You can see where I've traded this already. So, right here, I sold right where I shouldn't have, and then I bought right where I shouldn't have. So, I'm also learning and adapting, right? So I'm adding up into the dips here and bringing the price average down to a 205 average. If I can get another dip to the 180s, I'll probably load up a bit more. I'm only sitting on 3,500 shares right now. The goal is to sell in 260s, 270s, and so forth. So You know, I did take initial profits. So this profit taking right here was from my 175 average. So I had the stock all the way back to 170. Let's see if I can show you that. Right. So where I was buying up the price averaging here, I sold. I had a 175, 172. Pardon me, 172 average, and then I sold at 199, $2. I think it was 202, something like that. And now again at 190. So we'll see what happens. One thing I've been doing as of late, been working because of the slower market, is putting the stock into like an hourly chart, and you can see on the hourly chart. I mean, this thing looks pretty attractive, right? Like it's you had a dip, the run, the pullbacks, the run, the pullbacks, the run, the pullbacks, the run, right? So the fact that it's kind of held here in the 180s, if it can continue holding the 180s, it's a pretty bullish sign to me. And I wouldn't be surprised that we could get one more pop like this and get filled in the 260s and whatnot. So if you're finding that like the 5 minute, 15-minute charts aren't helping you, maybe try putting on an hour chart, maybe even 4 hour chart. Okay. I find can I get 4 hour charts here? More. Yeah, 4 hour charts. Right. So even on the 4 hour chart, you can sort of see like it's cleaner. You can read what the stock is doing with more ease because you're not focusing on all the little chops and ticks and whatnot going through between all the trades, right? So just something that might help you. Consider it. Don't consider it. Doesn't really matter. Back on the 5 minute chart for me here. So let's scroll back to. Oh, that's right now. So I can zoom out a little bit. And that's that. Okay. ONTX was a loss today. To put into position into perspective, I was working with 7,000 shares, so you can sort of see what I was doing. Let me just zoom out here a little bit for you to see what was I doing here. I made money all over the place. I also made money on ONTX before, because I sold a lot of it here. And then I thought here, you know what, this might happen again. So I jumped back into the dip, which was a really good buy, and I got a bit of a profit, about 3%, 4% profit there. But you know, a little frustrating. If you're with me in the live trade, I was shorting this on the way up, and what a beautiful short this would have been, right? It's just I got, it was moving against me, so I covered exactly where I shouldn't have covered. And you can see what a beautiful overnight short this would have been. And instead I flipped it long because I thought the chart was bullish, and it was, right? Which is why I used to be buying up all the dips, and it worked out. And then I started buying it up again here, and when it started taking out previous support levels here in the 70s and 80s, I just decided to get out. Okay, so a bit of a heavier loss on it, but the reason I took a heavier loss on it was because net profit was still there, so I could be a little bit more riskier with it, not stick to my rules as much from before when I did make money on it. So that's why you'll see such a massive, like 90s average and selling in the 80s. That's quite a bit more than what I usually do. But nonetheless, I'm working bigger size, so this is okay. It's acceptable. Whatever, it is what it is. And we'll see if ARPO and UONE will pay off in the next little bit. Okay. So this is oh yeah, I wanted to show you something here. So it's what UONE reminds me of is a ticker like eyes back from a few. I want to say like almost a week ago now. Let me zoom out and see which day that was. It was on the 18th. I don't know, the 12th for some reason. Yeah, I think it was on the 12th. Yeah, that's what it was. So let's put this onto a 1 minute candle on the 12th. Let's go all the way back to May 12th. There we go. Let's zoom out. Right. So, this is what UONE reminds me of right now. You've got that sort of beautiful like consolidation, the spike, right? So consolidation, pullback, and then you get the spike. You get the breakout, right? And then you get the chop zone where they capture people. Let me zoom in a little bit here because I feel like I'm not doing a good job. Right? So this is the breakout at 635, and then they run it up and they catch people. They get that one failed candle, which usually is the sign that there's gonna be a reversal coming. They'll capture more people, dump, capture more people, dump, and then they'll run it again, right? So let's put this into like a 5 minute candle. This is on the 12th, and let's go and take a look at what this thing did. Let's see, maybe 30-minute candles might help a little bit, right? So this thing it failed, right? Because there was no catalyst. It was just basically, it's short sold. It's highly shorted, so the short was exhausted and then it's back down. But what I like about these stocks where they pop up, they pull back a little bit. You get that massive pullback on that first candle I showed you there just a couple minutes ago, and then it goes back up and dumps and goes back up and dumps. What I like about those is that it's setting itself up for a potential run in a few days. So now you have a dip here, which is the exact dip I'm trying to capture on UONE. And that dip could be executed today, tomorrow, the day after. It could take some time. But the point is that's where the trade plan comes in, right? So I'm looking to buy this thing on UONE for 10.05 average, I explained. And, we'll see what happens. But it wouldn't surprise me if UONE did the same thing. We got that beautiful breakout at 10. Now they're doing that big sort of stuffing candle here, catching more people dumping, right? Catching more people dumping, right? You see what's going on here? So I wouldn't be surprised if 1075 gets taken out, which is why I have my heavy buy in the 10s. Okay. Really good lesson on history repeating itself. Nice to connect with you all again. I hope you're doing well, stay healthy, all that stuff, and I shall see you hopefully in the coming days. All right, take care. Bye.